Greetings everybody, welcome back to episode 3 of the Jedi Sages Podcast. We are back.
We are.
In what feels like a very long time. For you guys it's probably not, but for us it is, because we have a long break between recording sessions, so it's been a very long time. How have you been, my brother?
Yes, I've been okay. Obviously, at the time of recording, lots of exciting things happening.
Exactly.
In terms of Star Wars and Star Wars news, and it's been good.
Have you avoided the big old super cold that was been going around the old UK?
No, I think I was the cause.
Oh, do you think?
Yes.
Oh dear.
No, I don't know. I've had it, and I'm on my road to recovery.
Good. I was going to say, because I caught it a few weeks back, and it was not good, I'll tell you that now. I couldn't record, I couldn't talk, couldn't gym, couldn't do anything, and I was just like very bunged up. So
hours in the back to tank. That's what you needed. Hours.
That would have been lovely. Just a giant tube in the corner, just floating around like Luke in episode 5. That would have been very relaxing. Also, like we are back. Like I said, it's been a fair amount of time. Some things have changed. The hair is different. Got a haircut. The beard is back in full force.
The return of the beard.
The return of the beard. It's beautiful. Also, a new Star Wars t-shirt. So, fun fact, obviously, I was at last, literally, I was sat there and I was like, I can't do another episode in the same t-shirt. I was like, I can't. People are going to start thinking either I don't wash the top, or it's just it's steam pressed in a frame and I take it out every session. So I was like, right, I need to get a new top. And this is the fun, interesting thing. So I was like, normally shops have a lot of Star Wars merch, because obviously around Christmas time we have Star Wars releases.
We used to.
So I was going around so many stores and I was like, mate, there's nothing. I've got no options. I've got nothing I can choose, because there's been no Star Wars releases. There's been nothing. I mean, what, from like 2015 to like 2019 we're having Star Wars. So I was going into like a Primark, for example, thinking, I can just get like some Star Wars here. There was nothing. So I was like, I was actually getting very stressed, because I was like, right, we've got a date set, it's coming up, and I need a new top. Where can I get one from? I've had to resort to Amazon, but do you know what? It's lovely, clean Boba Fett.
I am liking it. I am going to investigate Amazon and see what kind of merchandise I can purchase.
Exactly, very good. Right, so in today's episode, we are talking about the games of the Star Wars universe.
We are. Now, I should probably clarify, I've focused completely on video games, as opposed to any kind of tabletop games, because I know there are some very popular Fantasy Flight or something.
Yeah, because there's like the
tabletop games.
The X-Wing one. I believe it's called X-Wing, isn't it?
Yes, there's an X-Wing one. There is I forgot it. It's gone. Nope. It's a Rebel something or other. Is it? Something Rebels.
Yeah. Because obviously, So we'll focus mainly on those, stumbling over my words, because it's been a while. So let me ask you this question. Obviously, this is unscripted. So, what was your first taste of Star Wars video games?
Oh, that's a question.
You'll have to access the old memory banks.
Right. Actually, do you know what I remember? Because I had to look this up for research purposes.
Oh, right. Smashed it.
So it was on the Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was for those of you who don't know, it was a handheld console. It was very much like a box that you would open up, and inside was the 4 or 5 buttons. We only had 4 or 5 buttons in those days.
It wasn't even that. Pretty sure it was an A and a B. I've got it in my bedroom.
It was A and a B,
and then a directional
cross-pad.
D-pad.
That's the one. You had a start and a stop.
And you had bumpers.
And you had the triggers.
You had the bumpers, didn't you?
It was brilliant. My God. And I don't remember which one was first, but there were 4 games I definitely remember playing. One of them still breaks my heart, because I lost it very early on, and that was Star Wars Jedi Power Battles.
I don't remember that one.
It was one of the first games that came out with Episode 1. You could play as Obi-Wan, or Qui-Gon. You could play as Mace Windu with a blue lightsaber. You could also play as Darth Maul. It was fantastic. I bought it pre-owned. I say I bought it. My mum bought it.
Was this on the Game Boy Advance?
It was indeed. Yes.
Blimey, I don't remember that.
You
clearly didn't share.
No, it was that good. But it was a kind of a top-down Diablo style kind of persona. And it was fantastic. I loved it, and I just have visions of it. I don't remember it. I remember playing it in 1 or 2 instances. I remember the Trade Federation battleship, and I remember the Duel of the Fates kind of power generator room. But I lost it very early on.
Did you?
We were at a residential away somewhere, and it got lost.
Oh no!
And
disaster.
to this day, much like the Emperor Palpatine figure that was flushed down the toilet mercilessly by yourself, I will never recover from that loss.
Wow! Do you know what? Because you said that, that's actually triggered a lot of memories in my head. Because I remember I think I had an Anakin Skywalker one from Episode 2. Was it?
Yes, it was called New Droid Army.
New Droid Army.
Yes,
that was another. I think I lost that one as well.
You lost that one. Yep. Then there was the. We'll talk about in detail in a minute, but Star Wars: Flight of the Falcon. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do remember that one. I do remember that
where
one.
it was a pixelated Millennium Falcon flying through pixelated space, and going. It was it was an on rails shooter.
That was next level. I think it's because it had that very nice 8-bit soundtrack. Like, do you know what? I think I've got all of these games still in my bedroom with my Game Boy, and I might even have your Game Boy.
I think you have my Game Boy as well.
I had the black one, and you had the silver one.
I did, yes.
Oh my word.
I had the collector's one. There was another one as well. And again, we're going to talk about these later because I do want to go in depth on these. There was a Star Wars trilogy, Apprentice of the Force, which was a newer one. It was the 4, 5, and 6, New Hope.
I was going to say that was the side scroller
one. Yep.
With Luke Skywalker, wasn't it? Was it just Luke Skywalker?
I think it was. You just played as Luke. You might have played as Han on occasion. Yeah. But yeah, it was fantastic. Really good. And the final one that I remember you and I had so much fun playing, and was endlessly kind of replayable, was Revenge of the Sith. But it wasn't. It was the style of it.
Again, that was the side scroller one. That was like a cartoony,
it was
but
an
not
anime one.
Yeah,
yes. Very strange. You had the console release, which was very realistic. PlayStation 2 graphics, and then you had this anime RPG style side-scrolling GBA game. It was very strange, but endlessly enjoyable.
I do remember that. And again, I think I've got that. We'll have to do some kind of live stream with the camera panned over our shoulders, because I have no idea how you would record that, because they are so old. I don't know if you'd have some kind of adapter that could go into
that was
computer.
The thing, wasn't it? I remember we had a Lord of the Rings game that we actually, to play multiplayer, you had to have a system link.
Yeah, to
have cable.
That's mad.
Oh, that's mad. But
I did.
So
do you know what? I actually, in my seniority, I completely forgot about the Game Boy games, because how
I think that just shows
were.
My seniority.
But they were so. It was so fun as a child, because it was portable and stuff like that, and you could just play these Star Wars games, because we used to do these very long trips up to our grandparents up in Liverpool, and it would often be like
St. Helens, not
Liverpool. Well, it's in and around that area, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It was a 4-hour drive.
5.
Yeah, 4-5-hour drive. Mother would take us 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
something like that. So it was this was before times where we didn't have iPhones, didn't really have laptops, didn't have tablets. So all we had were these little Game Boy Advance.
Even before the PlayStation Portable.
Yeah, well, we never really got the chance. I never really got a chance to play one of those.
No, we that was something else. Is we never had we never had any of the the consoles when we were younger, because they were just too expensive. So the Game Boy was the kind of our console,
our Nintendo Switch of the time.
It was. I remember playing things like Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
Do you know? I would love to go back and play some of those games. I think.
Why don't when you leave, I'll give you your Game Boy. I don't know about the charger. You might need to. I might still have it actually.
I'll just hold it up in a lightning storm and hope for the best.
Yeah, in it. But that was mad. I'll tell you what. My first experience, barring the Game Boy. So I went round a friend's house, and they had a PlayStation 2, and the first game that I remember interacting with, in a major way, that was obviously a big step up from the Game Boy, was the original Battlefront from 2004. And I remember because it was the map Kashyyyk Docks, I believe, and I distinctly remember as a kid, I was just he was playing, and I was sat there I need this game in my life. I need it.
And didn't we get it?
Oh, we did. We did. And I remember I was like, right, I need to get this game. I need to get this. But obviously, bless our beloved mother, she couldn't really afford to get us a PlayStation or anything like that for our birthdays or anything like that. So my granddad built me a very ancient PC. Like it was my first PC, and it was like it had like 512 megabytes of RAM and stuff like that.
Had a rollerball mouse, ladies and gentlemen, a rollerball mouse.
I don't think mine did. Did it? I can't remember.
No, I think mine did.
No, I think it did. But yeah, so he built me that, and then I think I got Battlefront, the Battlefront game. And then we had to get a graphics card as well because my computer didn't have a graphics card, and it was such an ordeal to finally get it. But oh my word, when I first got it, do you know what it was? It was the loading screens for that game. So you have a galaxy view, and it would like
yes, it would slowly go in,
and it zoom in, and then and it was it was so sick, and it would like slowly zoom in a map. There was so many it was the fact that you were doing instant action. There was just a list of different places. You know, there was like Renvar, there was Coruscant.
Do you know what? Renvar is always the one that sticks out to me because we've never seen it. It's just it's like Hoth, but it's not Hoth. It's Renvar.
Yeah, and it had a giant ice lake and stuff like that, and it was just like
fantastic.
It was brilliant. That game was amazing. Okay, so let's steer it back to
focus. Stay on target.
Yeah, stay on target. So let's bring it back. So what was obviously it's probably going to be hard for you to narrow it down to one singular favourite game.
I can do it on one hand. How's about that? One hand's worth of games.
Okay, with 4 fingers, not including a thumb. Is that possible?
No.
Okay. Go on then. Right, hit us with your favourite games.
Okay, right. So I have been, I was asked to come up with one, but it was too tricky. So overall, if I had to pick absolutely one that I could only ever play again, it would be Knights of the Old Republic. That's my overall winner. So if I had to only use one finger, it would be that one. Because it had everything. At the time, it had amazing graphics. The story was... it was so immersive. It was different as well. I was literally
going to say the terminology would be it was different.
Yeah, it was very much what the promise of the prequels before the prequels. I know the prequels I think Old Republic came out in 2003.
Yeah.
And obviously the prequels were in kind of mid-swing there.
Yeah.
But the idea of ancient Jedi, ancient Sith, but things were still, they still had spaceships. It wasn't swords.
It was still Star Warsy.
Absolutely, you still had that feel. The music was incredible, and I think overall, Knights of the Old Republic would be my winner. There's also a bit of a story to it. Is for Christmas, I when we first got the computer, I ordered 5. I asked for 5 games for Christmas. I can't remember, it was like a Star Trek Voyager, Elite Force, random other ones, and Knights of the Old Republic.
I didn't remember that. I didn't know.
Oh, and I remember because we got them up at Nan and Grandad's. So we were up there for a good couple of weeks. So I didn't get home. I was stewing, just looking at the manuals for these games. And I was looking at the technical specifications. Now, as a 12-year-old, or however old I was, I didn't have a clue. But I was looking at it going, yes, I think this that matches what I've got. And I was convinced that the game that I would definitely be able to play, all the others were up in the air, as in, I don't know if it's compatible. But with Knights of the Old Republic, I was sure it would work.
Oh no,
100%.
I can hear this is leading to bitter disappointment.
Oh, you can guess which game never worked, can't you?
Because I remember it worked on my computer, didn't it?
It worked on yours, yes. I don't know what it was, but my computer it didn't work on. It kept crashing, kept freezing, and we didn't have,
I bet you these days we could look at it and be like, right, it was a simple issue of like compatibility.
It probably was,
like
absolutely.
It's hilarious.
So actually, do you know, it was, we played it on your computer.
I was going to say, because like one of my fondest memories as a kid was... The basically the first initial level that you were on is the planet called Taris, which is basically like a B-Tech version of Coruscant.
Yes.
And I remember I would have. I think this stems from my enjoyment of watching other people play games, because I remember when I was a kid, I would sit there and I would watch you play on my PC in my bedroom. And
early on in the morning as well. Yeah. I'd be like sneak in, and dressed all in black.
I loved it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I think that's what's inspired me as to become to do YouTube and stuff like that. And
so just to confirm, I am your inspiration.
Yeah. Yes, I must.
We have that on film, ladies.
Yes, I must admit, but it was such a joy, because it was always that time, like you see those memes of like, oh, when you can't do a level, so you get your big brother to do it. It was stuff like that. It was like when we first got off Taris, and it was just like, whoa, and it was like this big ordeal. And like obviously I played through it a couple of months back, and obviously I smashed out the planet like in like a couple of hours, because I'm like, I know what I'm doing, and I've matured to the point where I'm like, mate, I can do this, this, and this. I know what I'm doing with this, but it was still such a blast to play through it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I remember we were stuck on Taris for a while because it was after we'd done, I think some of the fights in the fight pits, and I couldn't work out what to do next, and I didn't think to press J to look at the journal to work out what to do. And yeah, it was
because we were like almost
so
like
much
winging it all the time. But yeah, like you said, like the voice acting was amazing. There was like legends like Jennifer Hale, who has now been in. Like she's one of probably the go-to female voice actors in the gaming industry. You had the likes of Raphael Sparge, who's been in like physical stuff and obviously in voice work. Who were some of the others? There was like
there was Tom
loads.
Kane doing Yoda or Master Vandar. You had the voice. He's recently passed.
Ed Asner.
Yeah,
bless him.
Vrook, Master Vrook.
Yeah.
Before he was an Up, he was in Star Wars.
Exactly. That very very deep, grizzled old man kind of voice. It was very
fantastic.
Nice. But it was great because it gave us new lore, new planets. Just everything was new, and it was one of those things where the game designers could call upon this kind of like stuff and be like, right, we can do X, Y, and Z because it's 4,000 years ago.
Absolutely, the time frame was perfect, and it was very much like they didn't have to adapt. Like it was the first of its kind in that time period. So it didn't have to. You never had all these complaints like, oh, why don't they use things from canon? It was canon.
It was.
It created its own canon, and it was just fantastic.
Do you remember how like it took four discs to install it?
Yes, I've still got the 4 discs. I've still got my original copy.
4 discs. Like people who don't appreciate like the early noughties in terms of like technology. Yeah. This game I think was only like 10 gigabytes in terms of its memory and stuff.
I don't think it was big.
No, and it took 4 discs. It just boggled the mind.
And the anxiety,
because you didn't
you felt watching in between. Like I didn't eat for about 3 hours, which if you know me or look at me, I eat quite regularly. But if just sitting there watching this bar load for 3 hours, and then the intense stress. I looked like I'd gone swimming after I had to change discs.
I'm pretty sure that 1 or 2 of the discs got pretty scratched for the amount of times that we were like installing it and stuff like that. But
they still work.
Like I have to admit, obviously it was 2003. I'm pretty sure it won Game of the Year because of how amazing it was. It was like on. I don't know if it was one of the first big RPGs because I don't know if you'd have Neverwinter's Nights and like some of the other ones that BioWare had done, but this was the one that I really think that thrusted them into the limelight, that led them on to do things like Mass Effect, things like Dragon Age, and then obviously to come back and do the Old Republic MMO. I mean, it kind of set the bar.
It did. It really did. And the expectation for story as well, like the deep story and the emotion behind it, you really felt for those characters. No,
do you know what? Go and play it. Just go and play it. I don't want to spoil it in terms of like anything major because it had some major plot points.
Well, I suppose if they want to see what happens, they could just watch your channel.
Exactly. It's all live on my YouTube channel. So,
which we'll put a link for in the description.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not that fast. It's fine. I'll plug it somewhere else.
Search him on Google and you'll just find it.
But obviously nowadays, if you look at it, like some of the graphics probably don't entirely hold up.
Yeah, it's a bit models, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit blocky. It is that prime 2005 graphics, that GTA style blocky. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's not like it's disastrous.
Do you know what? I think it almost becomes you almost appreciate how technically good it was at the time.
It's a piece of art.
It is, and like the landscapes, the vistas are not atrocious at all. No. They're quite beautiful to look at. Yeah. Going out onto the dune scene of Tatooine,
or going
amazing,
walking through Ahto City on Manam.
Oh, absolutely,
the Rosha trees of Kashyyyk. The Valley of the Sith Lords and Korriban.
I feel like you're just throwing terms out there.
Mate. Nerd, I know everything.
Well, technically, if you go to the Shadowlands...
That's literally it. Obviously, it was, I think it was a year later. It was either a year later or 2 years later, the second Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lord came out. A little bit more controversial in terms of they cut a lot of content, which did inevitably affect the story. But again, when I played through that, I don't think I appreciated it as much as I probably could have done, because when I was playing it through a couple of months back again, I was like, mate, this is really good. This is really, really good.
I love KOTOR 2. It's not my favourite because it is so incomplete, and I've never... Like, I could tell you the storyline of KOTOR 1. Yeah. With KOTOR 2, it all got a bit wishy-washy. And it was quite deep.
Yeah, I was going to say, you needed like a mature level of understanding to be like, right, okay, this character's like main goal is actually this.
Yeah.
And it's revealed via this, and oh my God, they're doing this.
What I would recommend, I you know, in my copious amounts of spare time, which everyone will know is sarcasm, I actually spent a bit of time listening to... on YouTube, there's a... I can't remember the person's name, but they did a hour and a bit video about the philosophy of Kreia.
Oh, yes. I think, in fairness, I haven't watched it, but I've seen it in my recommended. Yeah, it's like an hour and a half, isn't it?
It opened my eyes even more about that game, and I just liked how different it was.
She was such a unique character.
The whole storyline was. Yeah. The idea of, you know, something wrong with the Force and someone who doesn't, you know, she uses the Force, but she hates it and she doesn't, you know, she wants to get rid of it. It was fantastic, and the type was so much darker. Yeah. It was very much The Empire Strikes Back of that. That is a good comparison. So dark, so deep, and steeped in mysticism.
Because it was going in that direction where it was like the first game, a lot of Jedi, a lot of Sith, and then it dips suddenly. We got no Jedi. Yeah. You're on your own.
Very much Sith. Revenge of the Sith feels.
Yeah.
And
you against the galaxy almost.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe it felt more familiar in that sense, and like Jedi was more special, but I also felt like it was very much more. It was. You were more Jedi than in the previous game. Like there was more Jedi-ness and Force-related things. Whereas, you know, you can still enjoy for KOTOR 1, you can still enjoy the pew pew pew.
Yeah. I feel like we glanced over this way too quickly, but the voice acting was amazing. We didn't even talk about the characters. Like some of the characters, like to list a few, you've got two of the best droids in the whole Star Wars franchise.
Absolutely.
Probably topping C-3PO and R2-D2 by a long shot. You've got T-3MA and HK-47. And I'm sorry, they are amazing.
HK was something special.
Was this assassin droid with sass, with sarcasm, all in a robotic voice, all with a hatred towards organic life. But the line delivery was was amazing. Starting each sentence with how his emotion was. So he would be like starting a sentence with sarcastic, and then he would say something. So it was just
pleasant greeting. Good morning, master.
It was just it was brilliant. It was his. I don't want to say evil, but his very...
It was almost his casual nastiness.
Yes.
You know, he clearly had this huge disdain for humans. He called them meat bags.
Yes.
And it was fantastic. You know, allow me to blast this meat bag for you, master.
It was just brilliant. And obviously there was the likes of like Canderous Ordo, a mercenary Mandalorian who was such a great character.
Which was another thing that was so good about that game, was actually we got a lot more Mandalorian lore.
Yeah, we did.
Understood, like that did borrow the idea of like the Mandalore and the leader of the Mandalorians from. I believe there were novels about it.
Yeah, because you had like Mandalore the Ultimate, Mandalore the Invincible. There's been so many of the title. There was the cool dynamic duo of Mission Veo and Zalbar.
Oh, another Wookiee.
Having a cool Wookiee companion, it's just like that's sick.
And then of course in the second one an evil Wookiee.
You had the choice of that,
which I do think they used as a template for, I will never remember or be able to pronounce his name, that there's an evil Wookiee in the comics. I think it's Black Chrysanthemum.
Oh, is it?
I think I've pronounced it. But yeah, he's in it. I'm sure that. What was the name of the bad Wookiee?
Honha.
I'm sure Honha was the template for Black Chrysanthemum.
There was just so many cool ones. Not to mention some of the cool Jedi. Obviously, you had Bastila Shan, you had Juhani, and then obviously old Mr. Grumpy Pants, Jolie Bindo.
Jolie Bindo.
Jolie.
Now, was that Kevin Michael Richardson who did the voice?
It might have been. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, someone else. I'll double check later.
But he was again a character who was. I think you'd class him as a grey Jedi. Yeah,
it was kind of that more pragmatic, I use the Force, but I'm not going to get drawn into that kind of dogmatic dogma.
Yeah.
You know, the rules and the systems of the Jedi Order, which obviously George Lucas then explored in Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones, the kind of how actually the systems around something are what bring it down.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, it would be nice to... there are mods out there for at least PC, I know that, for KOTOR 2 to restore a lot of the cut content. Apparently there was, because I've never played it, and I probably should, which is quite bad. There's an HK factory, because obviously in that game there's a lot of HK 5.0 models, which are these silver ones, which are just like basically just like some bog standard droids that you're up against.
Mass produced.
I think it expands upon Malachor 5, I believe.
Yes, I hope so.
Because the game, I'll try not to spoil it too much, but the game's first and second act are very detailed, very 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 flushed out in terms of like what you need to do. And then when it gets to the third and final act, it sort of gets there very quick. Like it happens just like that, and you're a bit sat there going, hold on a minute, how have we got to here? What's going on here? And I think there's a lot of stuff that is cut out in the middle, because unfortunately it was a rushed development. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure there was only a year between the two games.
It might well have been.
Which is really bad, because obviously I think it got handed over to Obsidian Entertainment, which it was a different subsidiary of like BioWare. So, they were under a lot of pressure. This game had just won Game of the Year. They had to deliver, and I think they just fell short a little bit. But all that restored content is out there, so you can get it. So, again, check it out.
I just wish that there was the only bug that really bugged me was the speech skipping bug, and that's still present in the game today. If you try and play it, is every now and again all the cutscenes will just whiz by, and you won't. There was
a way to fix it, because I think I had it when I was recording it. You just had to save it and reload it. Obviously, it did break an immersion a little bit, but if you save the game, reload it. It was a very very weird game, or very weird bug. Sorry. So obviously, you had a long list of favorite games. I mean,
should we hear yours?
I was going to say I'm in agreement with you. KOTOR is my favourite game. Like it will be. Childhood memories, the story, combat. I was going to say we didn't even talk about that. This wasn't a like hack and slash game. This was a Dungeons and Dragons dice roll.
It was turn based, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you'd have
But it was also, I think it's important to say, because I've recently played or started playing Divinity 2, which is true turn based.
Oh, is it?
Like I don't know, those of you among us who have played the Game Boy Advance games, there was the first Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring game, which was a turn-based thing. You tell each character to do something, then you press go.
Kind of like a Mario and Luigi kind of style. You know how like
the Superstar Saga. Yeah. So it was very much like that. It was very much not like that, in the sense of actually you would tell them what to do in real time. You could pause it if you needed to queue up actions. I suppose it was more like an MMORPG in the sense that you could queue up various actions, but it felt so much more immersive.
I mean, it wasn't. I think these days people looking at it would be like, that's such a weird way of doing it, but it worked elegantly in terms of when you had, say, sword fighting or lightsaber combat. It worked very well in terms of interactions between people, activating moves, and just the general flow and choreography of fights. It worked surprisingly well. So
it did.
I think the system shouldn't be frowned upon so much for being used in that way.
No, absolutely not. And I think I do. I can't put my finger on what it was, but between that and the Old Republic gameplay, I prefer Knights of the Old Republic, because there's something about it. I think you just feel more in it. Maybe it's the camera angle. Maybe it's where like the actions are always above the person that you're doing it to. So the villain that you're fighting, you would be selecting them and choosing the action above them, rather than all having it on the board and just sitting there pressing.
I think that's the thing with modern RPGs, where they have that kind of you want to get the abilities off quickly. So you haven't got time for that kind of like, hold a minute. So I think. There we go. So a little pop came out. So obviously we've got our favourite. I have put these other games under notable mentions.
Notable. You give me all that grief about having multiple fingers.
Well, I mean, they're not my favourite. They're notable mentions.
Notable mentions. Go on, then we'll mention your notables. Okay. Or don't mention your notables, but mention.
So we've got. Delving into the real-time strategy, we've got a classic of Empire at War.
Yes.
One of the first, real-time strategy games, playing as Empire, Rebellion, Mon Calamari cruisers against Star Destroyers.
And I think the thing is, we played that around the same time that we were immersed in Battle for Middle-earth.
Yes.
the Lord of the Rings RTS. So I think that got kind of, for me, I love the space battle of Empire at War, because that was different.
Don't steal my thing. That's my thing. I like the space battle. You stick with your lore.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I never played the land battles. I never played the campaign. But I vividly remember the space battles and having so much fun with that, because it was so different.
And the second game that came out, The Force of Corruption, it was, to this day, one of the most moddable games you could go out there. Like, I know there's people out there that have created 4K graphics for it. They've created dozens of new units. They've done different eras, different genres. Like,
yes, because I've seen the Knights of the Old Republic version where you've got Sith troopers.
Mate, there's loads. There's Star Trek. There's Mass Effect. There's Stargate. There's the game is so optional in terms of what it can do. I recently on stream did the old Empire at War for Scripture, the mod called The Awakening of the Rebellion.
Oh, nice.
And it was so fun. Like, the amount of units you had, the detail from, and again, this is a game from 2005.
Yeah.
Like, this is like how amazing mods can be. And it was a blast. Like, it was so fun to, instead of being sat in there in the cockpit of an X-Wing, for example, you're controlling a squad of X-Wing, you're controlling a fleet of ships. It was such a fun experience to be that commander, to step back from the close combat to the wide combat, and it was a blast when I was a kid. I do remember it. I was just like, this is fun.
I also remember back in the day when we were younger, we used to try and make movies out of these things, didn't we? Like various games, one of which I'll come to later.
Early YouTubers we were.
Yes,
almost.
Yes. And that particular Empire at War had that camera angle, didn't it? So that you could actually cinematic camera, so you could see all the X-wings and things flying through. It was fantastic, and I remember using that. I mean, I don't know where they are now, but I remember using it. Yeah. It was fantastic.
It was like using like fraps or like Bandicam.
Oh, good old fraps.
So obviously we had in 2000. I think I've got the dates wrong here. I think in 2000, did we have the original Battlefront? The first Battlefront, was that in 2004 or 2003? Because for some reason I put 2005, but I'm pretty sure that was Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I think 2005 was Battlefront 2. I want to say 2002.
Yeah, it might have been around that. But obviously that game came out. We had, very boots on the ground. That lovely Call of Duty reference that was always used. But it was that boots on the ground, clones, droids, Empire, Rebellion. Different classes, vehicles.
Oh, the vehicles.
Wide open maps.
Absolutely.
Boom.
And heroes
weren't
terrifying. No, they were a thing, but you couldn't play as them.
Oh, really?
You could have you had power-ups, so you could have like extra reinforcements, or you could have our troops heal each other. I think it was for Galactic Conquest.
Oh, I was going to say, not in instant action, but yeah. Oh, yeah.
And actually, one of the perks that you could have was heroes. So a hero will accompany you on your mission, and you'd have like I vividly remembered Bespin, the Cloud City. You flying the Tabana gas mine. You'd have there was a central platform area with a tunnel, and suddenly Darth Vader started running towards you, and it was all about killing this non-playable character who was just invincible, and you had like Count Dooku and all that. Oh, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, because that first game was just all about. It was all about just you're being the trooper.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Obviously that was the basis. And then when 2005 rolled around, oh my word, did it open up! Yeah. You had new era of clones. You had a voice acted campaign, which was very cool.
That was Temuera Morrison.
Yeah, as the 501st. You had expanded instant action and Galactic Conquest. Heroes, space battles. They were very.
Yeah, and actually that's on my list as one of the favourite games in terms of the gameplay and the hours I've spent playing it. Yeah. Something like Call of Duty these days I don't find very enjoyable.
No. I haven't bought Call of Duty for so long just because I'm just like. No.
But the nature of that Star Wars Battlefront 2, with the novelty of the space battles, the fact that you could take the battle from outside the spaceship and go into the spaceship, and rather than. Whereas at the moment, like current Battlefront, I don't think you can do. You haven't got that level of interplayability. I haven't played it in a while.
In Battlefront 2, obviously, they introduced the Supremacy game mode, where you start at the ground and then go up to the ship.
But you don't have that level in between.
No.
And I think that was one of the things that was in that leaked. Was it Battlefront 3 trailer?
Yeah, there was.
Where you could take off,
go into
fly
space.
up. Oh,
yeah,
and I thought. where did they go wrong? But yeah, so I mean, the Star Wars Battlefront 2, so good. That campaign was incredible.
Yeah.
The story of the 501st through through kind of Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then going into the original trilogy. Also, a very heavily modded game.
Yeah, I was literally, that was one point I was going to say. Yeah.
And being able to play as some of like the heroes from the Clone Wars, you could play as a variety of different people. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was always good to have a game that would have been open for modders to do and to upgrade. Like even this Battlefront 2, like the recent one, like that's very moddable, highly moddable, and there's been loads of ones. They've done Ahsoka models and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I think
that's the one thing I miss about being a PC gamer, because I don't have, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I can't afford the gear. So I'm very fortunate that my wife and I, we've got a PlayStation 5 between us, and
rubbing it in.
we can't mod them. I don't know if it's possible on a PS5, but it's less interesting.
Yeah, it does limit your options, but that was such a great game back in the day. Obviously, another one that I recently played through on stream was Republic Commando. It was a very short but sweet game.
Challenging as well. Quite challenging from what I remember. Because it was one of those back in the day when you had to find health packs and you had to find stations to recharge, and actually they got quite challenging. Like the droids weren't easy to destroy. Got a super battle droid. I think that was a good couple of minutes of work.
That was our understanding of the game in terms of like we're going through it again. I played it on normal difficulty, and it wasn't. I'm not going to say it was a breeze. There were definitely challenging moments.
Because I play on hard difficulty.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I don't.
I'm just a scrub casual. There was some challenging elements, but it was just that cool element of you are a tight little unit. You've got cool orders that you can give out. You can dish out to people.
I also liked the fact that you got different characters.
Yeah,
like you had. I mean, yes, I think they were supposed to be clones, but they were voiced. Raphael Sparge. You had Sev. You had Fixer, and the other one.
Boss was Tenwara Morrison.
And I've written on my notes, it was almost Clone Wars before Clone Wars. You've got that kind of that camaraderie.
Yeah, that personality, that unique personality per clone.
Absolutely. And so each clone was very similar. It's not very similar, but very different from each other.
Yeah.
And you got that camaraderie. I still think there should be a sequel where we find out what happens to Sev.
Yeah.
But what will be.
And obviously one of my last ones, delving more into, I think this was like the 2010 era, was the Force Unleashed games, which were again ones that were like expanded upon the lore, but it was switching to a hack and slash. But it was fun with the physics, the force powers, even the characters. So this was obviously turned into Legends.
Yes.
Because obviously they had some like absolute mad stuff in it in terms of like what could happen.
Vader's Secret Apprentice,
exactly.
Which, do you know what, isn't too far from like Inquisitors these days.
Yeah.
You had the biggest change has been the birth of the rebellion.
Yeah.
That game introduced at the end the birth of the rebellion. Where did they get the logo from of the Firebird, which obviously nowadays is very much based in Rebels and the crew and Sabine, whereas it was actually Galen Marrick's family crest, wasn't it? And it was fantastic. And funnily enough, that is one of my favourite games. I've put that in the story category of favouriteness. It was one of the ones. It was delving into a time that we already knew, that kind of Revenge of the Sith time, or post Revenge of the Sith, I should say.
In that little gap.
Hold my hands up. That's one of my favourite time periods, because it is. You've still got Jedi, but much like in KOTOR 2, you've still got Jedi, but they're a threat, and they're not as popular. They're being hunted, and Force Unleashed is one of those ones that I will put on the cinematic movie of. Yeah, all the cutscenes and watch. That's probably one of the most.
It was
watched,
a blast, wasn't it?
By me. Obviously, the acting as well. I think it was one of the first games where it felt like they'd had true motion capture.
Yeah.
With Darth Vader's face was so movable. No,
I mean, we're not taking into regard. This was the introduction of Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer.
Sam
Yes.
Witwer.
Yes.
Into the Star Wars universe, and obviously he's played such a pivotal role in terms of voice acting, in terms of acting in general.
He's put his foot in the door and worked his way in.
Exactly. He's, this was his. He dipped his toe in the Star Wars universe, and he's dived in, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's in anything Star Wars. I'm pretty sure he's probably a full Star Wars fan.
Oh, he is. I've seen him do Star Wars trivia contests and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So he's, because of this game, he was introduced. And,
and obviously I think a lot has been taken from The Force Unleashed. I think the idea of Inquisitors has been taken from the idea of Vader's secret apprentice. You also had like shadow troopers and things like that.
Yeah, dark troopers and all that kind of stuff.
Also, I have no justification for this, but I think the idea of Ram Kota
cool
is Kanan.
Yeah,
I think Kanan Jarrus is based heavily on Ram Kota. The idea of a Jedi who was around during that time.
He does get blinded as well.
He gets blinded, and he finds he's kind of, he loses his way, and then he finds it again when he needs when he has an apprentice. I think that's Kanan, and yeah, I love it. I really do, and the locations as well.
Yeah, there was
Raxus
Prime, that junkyard planet.
Absolutely.
They went to Kashyyyk, didn't they, a couple of times?
They did.
Felucia, I remember that.
That was a tricky one.
That was an interesting one.
And like the Imperial shipyards and things like that, and it was just a new look. If you had different types of troopers.
Second one was a bit of a disappointment.
I think the second one was too much. I want to say too much of the same, but it felt very samey.
Yeah.
And I don't mean samey as in compared to the first one. I feel like the levels and things were quite, here we go again. I'm doing.
I feel like
things.
it was a rush. That was a rush development one, because it was. I distinctly remember the campaign was a lot shorter. It was a lot more buggy, and I'm pretty sure that the ports to PC from both the first and the second were very bad in terms of like controller manageability and just like UI interfaces and stuff like that. I'm very certain that people are having a lot of complaints about that. Yeah,
and I think it was also tricky storyline wise, because I'm not going to spoil Force Unleashed, but it wasn't easy to carry on.
Yeah,
it almost would have been better having left it there.
Just no sequel.
But I think it just goes to show how popular it was. And they made a sequel after what they did with the character.
It was also I feel like this was one of the games where it also had a light side and a dark side ending based on your actions.
Well, based on your actions in the previous level. You had one choice at the end of the game.
But it still generated that second outcome, and it also had one of the best DLCs. Like, people rate. I think it was the first game that had the DLC.
That one where they faced Luke.
It was almost. Yeah, it was almost like
the alternate.
A what if scenario. Yeah, and it was people rated it. And do you know what? Looking back at the idea of concept of it, like Leia, they had like Leia turning into a full Jedi with like a yellow lightsaber,
and they linked, didn't they? So you had Starkiller hunting down Luke. He found Luke. He either trained or killed Luke.
Yeah,
and then you had Leia take up the mantle of the Jedi.
It was a very cool what if.
It really was. And the costume was brilliant.
Yeah.
And like you see cosplayers play as
definitely
Lord Starkiller all the time.
Yeah.
And again, heavily influenced, I think, the look of the Inquisitors.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Right, so obviously the next section...
Oh, well, there is one more I'd like to add.
Okay.
One final one. This will be my fifth. So there's one... I wanted to include one of the newer games, and that's Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay, yeah, that's completely acceptable.
Because... Oh, thank you. Because although... It was one of those things. It's the most realistic looking game.
Yeah.
It's a stunning game.
Yeah.
It's set in one of my favourite time periods.
Again, yeah, that little period between 3 and 4.
Yeah, and like the flashbacks where you see the lead up to Order 66. Order 66 itself is shown, which is always fantastic. I think that was the first time, apart from Battlefront 2. The original, that we'd actually seen Order 66 from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then the nostalgia of being in this post Revenge of the Sith world and seeing like the downed Venator.
Yeah.
Getting
just dismantled like on
absolutely.
Whole...
And even when it's crashed on.
Is it Braca?
No, it's not.
Or
Braca.
is there a different mission?
I don't know whether it's the Zepho homeworld. But it's one where it's under, like at one point you go underwater.
Because to my shame, I have yet to play it. I'm waiting. I know. Well, I mean, it's because I'm in this stage where I don't want to get it on PlayStation or I want to get it on PC. I'm in that, like, I don't know which one I want to do it on.
Have you got a PlayStation?
Well, I'm thinking about getting one. So
because depending on which one you get, they are, part of the news that's coming up later is that they have released a next gen update for it.
Oh, really?
So you can get the next gen update.
Again, this is what I mean. I don't know whether to get it on PC or I don't know. I'm in an R and I'll make a decision.
I quite enjoy playing it on the PS5.
Yeah, just because of like the combat style, it's very.
Yeah, and actually, at first, I hated the game because of the combat, and I couldn't do it.
Like timings and stuff like that. Yeah, it was Dark Souls, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was
almost like Dark Souls. There was a goat that killed me repetitively, and It was very much. It was almost misleading, a bit like The Witcher in the sense of the combat. You don't really block, you dodge. Like that one bit of skill would have helped me. Just don't block, dodge, just run.
There we go.
But the story was great in terms of the the context of it. I would say some of the missions were a bit like meh.
Yeah.
Like the purpose of the backstory of the Zepho, this ancient Jedi or Force-sensitive civilization, it was a bit underwhelming. But the emotions were strong. The ending was fantastic, Rogue One level ending.
Yeah.
And obviously, I liked the realism and fear that the Inquisitors brought. It was the first time since Star Wars Rebels or comic books that we'd actually seen the Inquisitors in almost a photorealistic way.
I can't remember if they had that stupid helicopter.
They've
got the blade, but I don't know if they do the stupid helicopter.
They never did the stupid helicopter thing. Ridiculous that was. It's light. Light can't make you fly.
Exactly. Jokers.
But yeah, so Jedi Fallen Order is one that I've played it twice. The first time I did it to play it. The second time I was like, right, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to really immerse myself, read all the things that there are to read within the game. And I really enjoy playing it the second time now that I know how to dodge and not block.
Yeah, exactly.
That goat didn't get me again.
Yeah, well, like I said, I will definitely give it a bash at some point because it's one of these ones of the modern era that is a brilliant Star Wars game. Right, so the question I want to ask now to you: if you had two games to remaster, what would they be and why? Now, before I'm going to preface this by saying you can't have one
that's already being remastered.
Yes, yeah. So I specifically didn't include that, which again we'll go on to in a bit.
Yeah.
So what two games have you said that you would love a remaster for and why?
Okay, well I've got 3 games.
I can't win with this guy. I can't win with this guy. I give him a simple assignment and he can't follow it.
Right, the first one is Bounty Hunter. Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Because it.
They've re-released it on PlayStation, so I've got it. I can't play it because it's awful. The controls are absolutely atrocious.
Really?
The camera angle is atrocious. The controls are absolutely dire. But it's such a good concept. It's like, I don't know, Predator Concrete Jungle. You're walking through things. You've got to find targets. You scan them. The controls are atrocious.
Are they?
I absolutely hated playing it,
Really?
and I haven't got very far in it because I kept, you're trying to jump, and things don't work.
Oh, is it just very clunky?
It's so clunky. It's a PS2 game,
yeah.
but I'm playing it on a PS5.
Yeah.
So we're several generations out, and it's not even remotely.
But it was a very cool because
playable.
playing as Jango Fett.
There's a lot of lore. You find out about how he's recruited to be the template for the clones. And I think, do you know what? The Fets are cool right now.
Yeah, they are. They're in.
They're very much in.
Very in.
And I think, Tamara Morrison, I'm sure he's not short of work at the moment, but if he wants to come back, they could probably reuse his dialogue, couldn't they? But I think it would definitely benefit from a next-gen upgrade.
As long as they don't do like these stupid thing where they take, like, I'm finding it with modern games these days, they'll remaster a game and then they'll charge it full price, and it's just like, you don't need to do that.
I think as long as they charge you full price for a PS2 game, I'll pay 20 quid.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I wouldn't want to pay 50 quid.
Yeah, exactly. $34.99 is a decent amount for a remaster game, probably focused on the single player.
Yeah, and that was the thing. With me, very much, it's all about single player and story.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be able to play the story on this game.
Yeah.
But I can't!
Because it's crap.
Yeah. And so that was one of mine because it had such good potential. I was really excited to play it. And I know that, I've played the Return of the King, which is a PlayStation 2 game. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Easy controls. Lovely to play.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have achieved that with Bounty Hunter? Obviously different, manufacturers and stuff like that. But, it was possible.
Definitely.
And so I think even don't worry about the upgrading the graphics. Just change the controller system, change the camera system. Let me move the camera without having to, pray to a sun god and sacrifice a bird on the altar of pasta.
It was one of those. It was one of those games, wasn't it, where you go into an area, you had a fixed camera, and then your orientation of how you'd move would also change. So if you're pushing forward and the camera angle changes, because the camera angle's changed, the direction isn't right, so you had to change that as well.
Yeah, there was no camera. You couldn't manually control the camera. Or you could, but the moment you let go, so like you could turn it this way, but the minute you let go, it would flip back.
Yeah, that's a very like so early gaming kind of thing.
It was. But otherwise,
Yeah, Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember seeing like either in, I think it was maybe a Toys R Us. I feel like they had the demo of it, because obviously they in like these old like toy stores, they used to have these consoles set up that people could just go up to and play and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure there was that with the like little the demo level, which I
quite
think
possibly
was in like an arena against one of those 3-horned.
Do you mean the Reek?
The Reek. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember off the top of my head what it was called. Yeah, I just think you remember that that level.
Yeah, it was. And I remember you had a friend that played it, and I watched you. Or we both watched your friend play it. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it had such potential, and people enjoyed it at the time because they didn't know any better. But coming from our spoiled perspective now, I can't. It's such a struggle to play.
What other games have you got on the list then? See if there's anything that matches what my list is.
There's one that's been recently re-released on PlayStation, which is Jedi Knight Academy.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that actually, do you know, it's nowhere near as unplayable. Like it's not. It's a lovely game. Yeah. You've been playing it. I know, and it's fantastic.
I just smashed it. I loved it.
A visual upgrade to it would be amazing.
A little bit of a mechanical change as well. Yes. I would have liked that. Because playing through it, it was set about 10 years after Return of the Jedi, I think, or a few years after.
Yeah, it was in. I don't know the exact time, but it was very much in. There was actually a series of books called the Jedi Academy.
Oh, was it?
And it was linked to the Jedi Academy books.
It was certainly. I kept on calling it when I was recording it. I kept on calling it the Jedi Fallen Order before Jedi Fallen Order. That's what I kept on referring to it as because of the
mechanics wise.
Yeah, lightsaber combat, the hack and slash, over the top kind of camera angle. There was cool characters. The mechanics were fun. Like
story was interesting as well.
Force pushing people off. Like there were so many missions where like you could just force push people, and it was so satisfying. I tell you now, when I was playing through it, I was like, "This is fun."
I believe that I don't know whether it was a mod or whether it was just an option, but you could have dismemberment.
Yeah, there was an option with it.
That was pretty cool.
I think there was something you could do in the coding.
Classic Star Wars. You got to lose a limb.
Yeah, exactly. But that was like next level. Like you do cool slow-mos when you're fighting a Jedi, and you cut it, and then the head would come off, and then the body would come off because the lightsaber would be combo. And you're like, oh my god!
And that was one of the first times as well where the lightsaber would react to things around you. So if you stuck your lightsaber in the wall just by moving the camera,
it would leave a scorch.
Would leave a scorch mark.
And then when you're in the rain, you'd hear
the sizzling.
The sizzling, and then you see steam coming off it. It's like those small little things that people add to a game. It just makes it more immersive.
And you had the different lightsaber styles as well. You could choose. You could have double-sided sabers. You could have,
and not only that, you could have there was the normal style, fast style, and strong style to deal with different types of enemies. And obviously, that is representative of like the different lightsaber forms that you might have.
Absolutely,
which was very cool. The graphics and locations were very fun as well. Like there was new places that you went to, old places you revisited. There were some proper classic missions. There was the mission where you go to rescue some people, but then you end up needing to be rescued yourself, and you can't. It was like a very Dune-esque. Like you got sandworms or whatever they are. You can't go on the sand, so you got to like traverse across.
That was creepy.
That was very like when I played that through, I was like, oh my god, this is very very. Ooh.
Yeah.
And there was other missions to like rescue people on Coruscant.
It was very much like cool. you are. Almost like the police.
Yeah.
It was the Jedi Knight Order in the New Jedi Order, so post Return of the Jedi.
New Republic,
really helping people out.
Being the peacekeepers of the galaxy.
Yeah, guardians of peace and justice.
Exactly.
In the New Republic.
Exactly. But no, that was a blast of a game, and it obviously it's turned into legends in terms of like lore and stuff.
Yes.
because Luke wasn't training new people in episode 6 or 7, so we just have to deal with it, unfortunately.
Well, it was between it, but I don't think we'll ever see it.
No, I don't think we will. But no, it was a blast game. What other games have you got?
The last one I had was KOTOR 2.
Okay.
Because I think, I know KOTOR 1's being remastered, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. But I think if that one goes well...
Do you think they'll do? They'll greenlight it?
I don't know whether they will or not. I think they should consider it because it was such a good game.
Yeah, I think the fans. I think the fans would want it.
And the way it had new characters, but also it got you thinking.
Yeah,
it was nice to see that the fall of an order, like we've already said, and I just think it would benefit, and it would. You imagine the new fans it would create, people who like it already, plus. People already introduced to KOTOR 1 because they've got the remaster.
Yeah.
They can then go on to a brand new KOTOR 2 that works, and it's
works.
Actually,
got
works.
everything.
Yeah, I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah. Last game I put Republic Commando. So I would like graphical upgrades, little bit of gameplay upgrades, and I think a little bit expanded story. I think that would be fun. Not to mention also, I would love to see some kind of like PvE horde mode to keep it within that.
You're talking like zombies.
Well, I mean, zombie-esque where you and your squad have to survive. I think that would be something cool. I think that game has the potential for a cool remaster.
Here's my question: what would you rather, remaster or sequel?
Combination of the two. Like, I mean, I don't.
Can I have both?
I don't. Yeah. Can I not have my cake and eat it? Can you not? Like, surely, like at the end of the day, there was only 3 missions, right? There was 3 missions. You could double that.
Yeah, 3 chapters, yeah.
You theoretically could double that, keep it within the same game, add elements to it.
I've never heard of a remaster adding levels like that and adding to the story. But then I haven't heard of many remasters, so...
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be a plausible thing. Like, is this new KOTOR game going to be level for level exactly the same?
I think it will be.
I mean, yeah, but I think they'll have some freedoms. I think they might change some things. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like
I think you've got to be careful with remasters because they are. It's going to be built again from the ground up. I think the only change you're going to see is combat.
Yeah, probably.
If there is any change.
We'll talk about it later.
Sorry. But I don't know whether adding new stories would be an option.
I think it potentially could be. So like mix it into 2. Yeah, I mean, why not? You could do Republic Commando 2. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, that would be fun to do, like some kind of like survival mode, and maybe even pull it out of first person and go into third person.
That would be cool.
We've done. Like you could do cover-based shooting. You've already played as a Republic Commando in Battlefront 2 as one of the classes, and it works fine. There's no issues. Obviously, the immersive side of it was that first-person view with the HUD with the camera.
Absolutely.
Being in like a face cam kind of style. So obviously, moving on, we have had some great games. So obviously between 2000 and 2005 were some of the best ones that, in our humble opinion, that were released. And obviously the big move was in, I think it was the early 2013, when EA signed a deal with...
Was it 2015?
No, I think it was a bit earlier because they needed to develop some of the games. So I think they got the like, cause I think pretty sure it's a 10-year license.
Okay.
So they're pretty sure they signed it in 2013. And obviously, this is when things maybe took a step back, should we say?
Microtransactions.
Yeah. So as a brief historical overview, obviously EA signed a deal with Lucas. I think it was LucasArts at the time.
It was LucasArts at the time
because they hadn't been bought out by Disney. Signed a deal 2013 to make Star Wars games, but there were drawbacks. So obviously, I think. But like I said, between that 2000-2005 period, we were almost getting a game every year. But that slowed right down. I think since this deal, I'm pretty sure there's only been 5 games under the EA tenure.
So if we think about it, we've got Squadrons.
The 2 Battlefronts.
Jedi Fallen Order. Are we counting mobile games?
I'm not, but then you might also count...
Either.
What about the VR? There's that VR, the Galaxy of something or other, I think. There's that VR game.
Oh, Vader Immortal.
No, there's another one.
That's Vader Immortal. Is there another one?
Well, they might have done a few VR ones.
And then you've got the mobile game, Galaxy of Heroes.
Oh, yeah, but like at the end
horribly
of the day,
addictive, that one. Trust me.
Oh, God. At the end of the day, there was certainly a step back. We had the big release in 2015 of Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes.
And obviously everyone was wowed. I mean,
Yes.
I personally didn't have anything wrong with the game. Well,
it was visually beautiful.
Yeah, that is definitely agreed. I definitely agree with that, yeah.
The thing that I didn't like, or that took a while to get used to, I felt it went for... Whereas I felt the first Battlefront was Call of Duty, this one was Battlefield.
Yeah, well, it was done by DICE.
Yeah.
We can't forget that. On their Frostbite
And
engine.
I didn't like... I can't even describe the difference. But I
It
think...
was slower, like the TTK, the time to kill was slower. There was less...
It felt harder, more realistic, but harder.
Yeah.
Like, recoil and things. I don't know. Call of Duty has always felt smoother to me than Battlefield. Battlefield takes a lot more skill because you can be shot from halfway across the map, which I'm sure can be done in COD now. But it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was stunning. Like in terms of graphics, I remember there were some of the levels that were really cool. Tatooine, Sullust. It definitely felt very hollow. I think a lot of people noticed, there was no campaign. Yeah. There was no space battles. The game mode...
Did you have like low atmosphere spaceship combat? I can't remember if there was... I'm sure there was.
I think there might have been pickups. Because in that game you had like hero pickups and you had like stuff like that. So
but was there not a space level, but like a low atmosphere level where you could play as an X-wing and a TIE fighter? I'm sure there were.
I don't think it was a level. Like I said, I think there were pickups. There were pickup bonuses on the map because they went for the whole Battlefront.
It's been so long since I played it.
Yeah, so in that one they went for like a Battlefront 2 style where you could try and pick up a hero.
I do like the pickup idea.
Yeah, I like the
hiccup.
I didn't.
The hiccup. I've got a hero.
Yeah, it was a good concept. But like I said, there was no space combat, there was no campaign. Some of the game modes were very limited.
They were.
And it offered the dreaded season pass model. Pay for the season pass, you get all the DLC later on.
I bought none of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I did, but I think I did it only when it was like on a special offer.
Yeah. Now, was that the one that had like the Death Star Trench?
Yeah, Death Star Trench one, which introduced a little bit of that. When Rogue One came out, it introduced Scarif.
Oh, the beaches, yeah.
Well, even before that, when Force Awakens came out, it introduced Jakku and the new game mode. So in the original base game, the only kind of major game mode, there was no like Supremacy or Galactic or like some kind of conquest mode. You had Walker Assault, which was where
I quite like that one.
No,
it wore thin quite quickly.
It was fun for a little bit, where the rebels would defend a target and the Empire would have to advance this AT-AT.
Yeah, I did like that mode. Is that in the new one?
No,
I don't think it is.
I don't think it was. No.
I think they should have brought that across because actually I quite like that mode. It's different.
And then they flipped it into Turning Point, which was where the rebels were attacking an area and the Empire had to defend. And I remember they introduced Jakku, which was a glorious spectacle. Like,
you had lovely.
You had a downed blockade runner like in the middle of the map, and you had to like work through it. And then obviously they introduced the Death Star, which had a little bit of space mechanics, spaceships, space battles, and then obviously introduced the Death Star like map in terms of
the interior.
The interior, yeah.
See, I didn't play any of that. I've not.
Yeah.
I think to be honest, I can't remember whether it was Battlefront 1 or 2 that I played now.
It's probably Battlefront 2 but like it was.
I remember Jakku.
I think I've got it on my Xbox. In like the actual disc, I think it was from my Xbox One. But it was a good game. But it, like I said, it was very hollow, and people realised that going. Is this it? Is it like after such a long hiatus of having a Star Wars game? Like, and also the big one, there was no Clone Wars.
No, you're absolutely right.
Empire versus Rebellion. And obviously, this was a big thing.
There wasn't even sequel trilogy, was there? You couldn't play as the First Order.
No.
It was just
only the first one had been released at that point.
That's true.
So you only had the Force Awakens. So again, that was a big disappointment where everyone was a bit like, well, this is a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Like, can we not do better?
I remember the only time I played it was with friends online, and other than that, it was more a social thing.
Yeah. And obviously, one thing they've got to take credit for is obviously they took what people were, they took what the community was saying and they took it on board. So when they started development for the second one, Clone Wars and sequel time period was introduced.
Was it, or did the Clone Wars come later?
No. So they had the base, So they had the base Clone Wars, because the big one that they started adding was all the different skins, the different clone trooper skins and whatnot.
Okay, because I'm sure Clone Wars didn't come out until, I'm sure the base game, it had sequel trilogy.
In the second one,
yeah,
no, because the big trailer release. Do you remember when they had that? There's that famous meme. It was like, "Oh, sector clear," and then 2 seconds later, Darth Maul comes like his double-bladed lightsaber, "Sector not clear, sector not clear." And then, like, there's always that meme that goes around with that. And obviously that was the big reveal that you had. Clone Wars, you had like the likes of Darth Maul, and obviously it had a fully voiced and acted campaign, which was a short but sweet campaign. It was very interesting, with Iden Versio and Inferno Squad.
Yeah, I think that was amazing.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
It was very, very, very visually stunning. It was very cool.
The level with Luke was one of my favourite levels of all time. Yeah,
it was very cool. I mean,
of that game.
Yeah, but obviously, while they did good things, they obviously did very bad things. They turned towards the dark side of the Force, and they introduced a pay-to-win scheme. So those of you who play the game now, before you would play the game, and after the game you get credits. Those credits could go towards unlocking star cards that you'd only get in packs that I believe were random. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know, because
I can't remember.
See, I didn't buy it because I knew there were microtransactions. Yeah. So actually, I waited until after they got rid of it to buy the game.
So
this is news to me.
I think it was along those kinds of lines. So you're paying for a chance to get the right star cards,
specific ones.
But don't quote me on that, because again, I was the same as you. I waited before this whole controversy was over. But then you could also get crystals, which would then pay to get these star cards, basically. So it would pay. You'd pay to get crystals, and those crystals you could use as credit, or you could use like to transform into credits to get these star cards. And there was the famous article that had Darth Vader was obviously the biggest hero that you can unlock at the time, and they did a calculation because I think he cost like 40,000 credits or something at the time, and you were getting like 150 credits per game you were doing. So they calculated you'd have to play for like 60 plus hours just to unlock Darth Vader.
That's
and obviously
mad.
People were just like, what have you done?
Yeah.
Look how you murdered my boy. You know what I mean? It's just like, how did you not think this through? And obviously then it introduced the controversy of gambling. How revolutionary this game was. I mean, FIFA have been doing it for years, but everyone for some reason just glossed over the fact that they'd done it for decades. And all of a sudden, when Battlefront and Star Wars does it, it's all hands in the air.
Everyone loses their minds.
And obviously, people like there were famous ones. There was, I think, Hawaii banned it, Belgium banned it. Because of the fact that it wasn't.
So this is all news.
Yeah, because it was all based around the fact that you're introducing gambling to people, and obviously again this threw up such a negative limelight on the game that everyone was like, oh, they completely forgot that we now got 6 space battles, brilliant game modes, voice campaign, free DLC. They made everything like one of the first things they said when the game was released or when the game was announced. All the DLC would be free, and there was a lot.
Without mentioning that they would subsidise that cost.
Exactly. That's where the controversy was, because it drew people in. The fact that, oh my god, last time I think it was like it might have been like 10 or so pounds per for a year or like however many months or whatever. I can't remember how much it was. The original season pass. But having all this opportunity for it to be free was amazing, and obviously that was like skins. Like, if anything, actually, sorry, I didn't even realise. It cost crystals, so you had 4 skins.
Yeah.
So, and you're a bit like, well, but then the skins were like very mediocre. Yoda, for example, a different skin was having a hood up.
With the ears poking out.
And it's just like, what, I have to pay £5 or $10 for that? It's like, come on, man.
No, it wasn't. No, which is why I'm glad that I did join it later on when, you already had, not only was it, you just paid credits. You had to, you started to grind through the game, but you paid then credits to unlock skins, and you had to wait for levels.
Not even that. They did a complete 180. All the skins were immediately unlocked for everyone. All the emotes were unlocked for everyone. The only thing you had to grind for was the star cards per character. But
that was based on levels as well. They unlocked.
Yeah, exactly. But like, why?
But then now there's, I suppose it's as they've released them, hasn't they? As new skins have been released, such as We've had various types of Luke skins, haven't we? They've been either challenge modes that you've had to complete.
There was
or
a couple
of
of pre-order bonus ones. There's
Yeah.
there's like a Rey skin.
With the hood up.
Yeah, and a yellow lightsaber, I think. That was a pre-order bonus. But I mean, like,
you can buy them all now through
pre-order bonus
credits.
is just like pre-order bonus, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it
was such a tricky one because it was so good. Like, even to this day, I still play it.
Yeah, see, I don't play it as much, but I've really come out of the multiplayer. I get a bit bored of them. I go through space every couple of years. I go through kind of a couple of months of playing it, and it's enjoyable. I enjoy it, but the problem is you get, some, like, if I want to level up my heroes, it takes a lot of grinding.
It does. Yeah. Even like a hero, like heroes versus heroes, like level, it takes time. You need to wait for like double XP weekends. It's the same with space battles. The space leveling up is a lot harder than say on the ground.
And from what I remember, I am sure that there were some you could do ship to ship combat in the first Battlefront because it was easier. You could lock on.
Not in the first Battlefront.
I'm sure there was.
I think. Well, in fairness, okay.
It was all low ground above.
Yeah, because I think Bespin had a few and
Tatooine had one.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure there was.
But it was very basic.
It was easy and it was fun. It was relaxing. Whereas it's harder now.
Yeah, and obviously the big news came so. Battlefront was added to the Epic Games Store. I think last year, and it was free to play. And it had such a surge in players, they were going, oh, hold on a minute, let me jump on this game. Free to play, let's play it. Like, the player count, I'm pretty sure, quadrupled in, the space of a week.
What is Epic Games? I've never heard of this.
Maybe not.
The Epic Games?
Yeah, Epic Games Store. It's basically like a version of Steam.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different...
Purely for PC?
Maybe. I can't remember. I don't know off the top of my head. But no, so it was free on the Epic Games Store, and, it had a surge of players. Like, literally, I'm pretty sure... like I said, I'm pretty sure it tripled or quadrupled the amount of players that were on it.
Yeah.
And like I said, even to this day, I still play it. I still play it on stream because I know it's a blast. There's so many things that you can do. I wish they added a few more things, like the Walker Assault or the Turning Point, because that was a fun game mode. But you had Supremacy.
I'd also like an instant action style thing. I know they do. I know you've got instant action, but I don't feel like it's the same. You can't play all the modes, but on your own. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you used to be able to do, I'll do a capture the flag or whatever.
No.
On the original Battlefront, but you'd have bots.
Yeah.
And you don't...
This one is literally just kind of like Team Deathmatch, or I don't think there's many objective-based ones.
Whereas I'd like to be able to practice my skill.
Yeah.
But
not getting fragged by people with aimbots and stuff like that.
I'd like to, if I'm having a tough time on multiplayer, I'd like to be able to go on to instant action, do the same game mode, heroes versus villains or whatever, and not get sniped from across the map the first time I spawn as Darth Vader.
It is a shame, but obviously, with any game, you're going to get cheaters. I think I had a geezer on stream. He had a ridiculous aimbot, and you could see down the side of this person has just killed 20,000 people, just but that's just what ruins it. It was the horrid news in, I think it was early last year, where they said that they were no longer going to support the game.
Yes.
So they were pulling developers off they were pulling developers away to focus on what we now know is Battlefield 2042, because obviously it's still DICE.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, so they were pulling people away to focus on that. So we never got...
On a slight side note, 2042, what was the other futuristic Battlefield game?
2052, wasn't it?
No, was it?
Or 2152.
2142, that's what it
2142.
2142.
Oh, then they got a thing with 42 then. So I realised.
That's the specific year that stuff goes down.
Yeah, apparently. But they're pulling developers away, so the game was no longer getting support, which means we never got a full supremacy mode for the Rebellion. So we had it for the Clone Wars, and we had it for the sequel trilogy, but we never had it for the original, which was stuffed. Which was such a disappointment, because it would have been so fun to go up into a Mon Cal as the Empire, or go up into a Star Destroyer as the Rebellion and destroy it.
I'll tell you why, it's because have we ever seen the true inside of a Mon Cal cruiser?
Yeah. During the campaign, you do. On the second mission, when they were on Fondor, they have to infiltrate the a Mon Calamari ship, and they've got interior. They've got interior, so they've got assets.
Okay.
But they pulled them away, which also meant they couldn't develop any new heroes, because obviously we got skins when Solo got released for Han and Chewie and Lando,
and we had Rise of Skywalker.
Yes,
Apart from, did we ever get old Luke?
No, we never got old Luke.
I wanted Old Man Luke.
Old Man Luke would have been fun. They had Maul from
Kenobi!
Yeah, that kind of one with his weird lightsaber that's like a short double lightsaber.
Well, it's the Inquisitor's one.
Yeah, they had
melded together.
Obviously Palpatine and his like PJs.
The PJs? No, you mean Count Dooku in the PJs?
No. They had so in Rise of Skywalker, he's got that like those red PJ kind of like.
Oh no, his reformed robes.
Yeah,
they are regal robes, my friend. He has a belt.
Pajamas. They're pajamas. It's a dressing gown.
I quite liked his costume.
No, well, either way, they've got that. They've got some other ones, but obviously,
did you have? It always gets me. Count Dooku's exquisite pajamas.
Oh,
from the Clone Wars, he can literally run around. As
I
think
they class it as they call it his training training robes.
No, there's a different one. There's one where he's got the shoulder pads and he's not got the cape. That's training robes. But then he's actually got exquisite pajamas.
I can't
you can run around. He's got satin pajamas.
I'm surprised it's not velour. But because they pulled support, we never got the likes of Ahsoka.
No.
Nothing from the Mandalorian. No additional.
A Boba Fett skin would have been cool.
Yeah, Boba. Yeah, like they could have done a skin for that. They could have done a Din Djarin.
We never had Jango Fett, did we?
Never had Jango Fett. We
or any other Jedi's like Mace Windu.
They pulled Dengar from the first one. No IG-88. They were in the first game, but they weren't introduced in the second. They could have been. They could have done some cool like Bounty Hunter DLC. They never did.
That's a real shame.
I know. That's what I mean. There was plenty of options that they could have done. And obviously, when that news dropped, it was very disappointing. You're thinking, oh, that's a real shame. Like there were so many options that you could have done. And then going on to later noise when we talk about the news, obviously, everyone was like, oh, there could be a Battlefront 3. Spoilers. There's not.
Is there not?
No, I'll talk about it later. But it's fine. Obviously, they released Battlefront, and it was a very up and down, very turbulent. Then came probably the saving grace, the silver lining of Fallen Order.
Oh, love it. I was so excited for that game.
It was a first true single-player only game. Amazing graphics, next gen.
And for those cult sci-fi fans, it was lovely to see Tony Amendola, who was Braytak in Stargate.
Yeah.
Come in as he's in Star Wars now. So.
Yeah, exactly. He is now
crossing sci-fi boundaries.
People do it, being multiverse and all that.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of redeemed them in small elements. People still were like, "Well, it's EA. They kind of screwed us over."
And it was hard to. It took me a long time to get properly into it. Like I said earlier, because of the gameplay. And actually, they were ambitious with the Zepho and the ancient Jedi civilizations, but it was almost a bit. Like I said, it was a bit underwhelming, as a context. Obviously, now they're doing, you've got High Republic in the background and history. I'd almost rather have something like that.
Yeah, that's true. There's options for that as well, innit? Because you could call upon that. But once that, I think the EA games peaked at Fallen Order.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say they peaked at Battlefront 2 because obviously it was mired with controversy. So when you have to, the problem is you have to look back at the legacy now of EA with the Star Wars license. Was it that good? I'm gonna have to be honest here and be like, no.
I think
it's been a real letdown for the past 10 years. It could have been so much better, and they've just missed so many opportunities. Now I
think in terms of genres, I think they could have had more variety. If you look at Squadrons and if you look at Battlefront, very similar.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
You've got very similar styles of game. Yeah. Jedi Fallen Order was a success because it was so different.
Yeah.
But I think they could have gone. They had 1313.
Yeah.
That was a potential RPG. You've got other different types of games that you could have created, rather than focusing on just a few.
Oh, Jesus. Agreed. It was. In fairness, I have glossed over only because it was such a small game. Squadrons, yeah. It was.
That's the most recent EA release, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, I've played it a few times. I enjoy it. I don't mind it.
It was when I played it. It was the game that I played after I'd had dinner. I'd sit down for half an hour, play a mission, and go to bed.
Yeah,
and it was very much. Like the game of the evening.
Yeah, I think they...
And it lasted about a week.
And I think they wanted it to turn into a big esports because you had this MOBA style. Like, when you actually think about it, like the multiplayer maps, they were MOBA, where you had 2 objectives, and you're going against each other to and fro.
See, I never played the multiplayer.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think that's what they were aiming for. They wanted to turn it into an esports because they wanted to commercialize it, which is obviously the bad way of thinking about it, because it's just going to backfire. Because there were elements that were cool. Don't get me wrong. But it was definitely lackluster in a lot of things. Like, it only had pretty much one game mode. Capital fight and like some dogfight.
I literally never played any other mode apart from the campaign. Once the campaign was over, I haven't played it since.
Exactly, and like,
I mean, it was nice because you saw Wedge.
Yeah,
like I would say the 2
Graphics were
highlights.
good, yeah.
You saw Hera Syndulla and you saw Wedge.
Yeah,
and the graphics were gorgeous.
Yeah,
that was it.
But other than that, you just weren't wowed. You weren't.
Was there some crossover between Battlefront? Like, I'm sure Fondor, the Fondor shipyards were mentioned.
Maybe.
I think there was, from canon storyline wise, there was some crossover, and it was interesting that way.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
yeah, it was very mediocre, and it could have been a big one because obviously people like it being in the cockpit of an X-wing or a TIE fighter. Yeah. And like that initial release trailer or teaser was really cool with Titan Squadron and that little chase that they had on the planet. An interceptor versus an X-wing, but it was just such a letdown. You didn't
even get the variety of ships. I know they've released some now, but
but even then, like, they did like a little bit of DLC with a B-wing and a TIE Defender, but then that was it. Again, you had so much stuff that you could call upon. I mean, there's E-wings, there's T-wings, there's other ships that you could do.
You got a whole alphabet worth of wings there.
Exactly, but it was a missed opportunity from people that were just wanted to. I don't know if they wanted to make a cash grab, but they wanted to try and make more money from it. Yeah. Which is just, unfortunately, that's just EA all over. If you hate me for that, then I'm sorry, that's not my problem. That's my opinion. I think EA are just a cash grabbing, money grubbing.
I think they started off with good intentions, but with success, they've lost focus.
Yeah, they've been corrupted. And obviously, I think then they finally just dipped towards the VR world, obviously with the Oculus and the PlayStation 5 headsets and stuff like that. Is it PS Move? I can't remember.
I have no idea. I can't. It's expensive.
Yeah.
I can't, and I don't have the space to get into something like that. I'd end up knocking things off and breaking my telly trying to do the VR.
That is definitely you. You would definitely be falling over all over the gaff. You'd be all over the place. I mean, like, imagine you playing like Beat Saber or something like that.
Oh, even something like that. Beat Saber has I have no interest. The only one that I genuinely considered looking into getting a VR headset for was Vader Immortal, until I realised that it was about 40 minutes worth of gameplay. Jesus. And I thought, I'm not spending £400-500
on a
for
VR
45
headset.
minutes.
I think it's a developing game genre and game area for people. So like that, obviously at some point that's going to be the next thing for gaming in terms of the gaming industry.
And then it will be holodeck.
Exactly, and then we will be full Star Trek. It'll be crazy. But I think like I said, I think it was you're doing like a smuggler kind of vibe in the new VR game that came out. I can't, for the life of me, I feel like it's called Galaxy something.
Is it Tales of Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the one.
I've heard of it. I literally just remember reading about it.
Yeah, that was their latest VR game. And again, it's just
But again, that's all linked to like the Disneyland park.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah. But I mean, look, we're Star Wars fans, so like, I suppose the next question.
We?
I think so. Last I checked. What games would you like to see?
Okay, right. So I've got my little list.
Oh, blimey.
Some of them are games I'm looking forward to getting because I know we're going to get them. Like I'm looking forward to Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Yep, 100% agree.
I'm looking forward to that. I think now with the ending of Jedi Fallen Order, there's some more potential for to be a bit more creative. Because I think I'd like less of a. I appreciated the Uncharted historical side of the game.
Yeah.
But I'd like a bit more focus on like events now, politics of the time, and getting involved. I know there was the levels where you had Saw Gerrera and the Rebellion. That was good. Yeah. But with the ultimate aim of just entering this old temple and learning about the old Zepho. I don't know. It didn't hit with me, but I'm looking forward to the possibilities there.
Yeah.
I would like a Witcher-style open-world RPG. I know they are developing one. I think Ubisoft are.
Yes, because
which I'm gonna call Sith Assassin's Creed. Because I don't know what else it would be.
Or Switcher. We'll call it the Switcher. Star Wars Witcher.
Yeah,
Switcher. There we go.
So yeah, I do want something like that. I don't know when. I don't mind when. I'd
don't know where. Don't know when.
but I know. No, anyway. I would like it to be either Old Republic or New Republic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep playing in times that we've seen so much of.
Yeah.
Battlefront has explored. Battlefront really intrigued me when it explored that post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. So I'd like to see something like that. Preferably, me, I'm all about the Jedi and the Sith. I'd like to be able to play as a Jedi.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why, 1313. If we were playing as Boba Fett, yeah, okay, I could do that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be limited the whole time to just playing with guns.
Yeah.
I do like the option, which is why KOTOR was so good.
Yep. Yeah, the choice of blades or blasters.
Yeah. And I would like some kind of Battlefront style game. I wouldn't mind that again, but story.
Yeah.
It's got to be story. Give me almost like a merge between Battlefront and Republic Commando.
That'd be fun.
Where you could have Clone Wars stories. Tell me this. Let me play through some of the stories from the Clone Wars. I would like that. And yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same kind of track with you. Fallen Order 2, that'd be fun. To be honest, I would love to get 1313 just in general. That would just be fun because obviously you had that initial release teaser that was there. Some kind of new RPG. Yeah, that would be fun. Obviously, I'm very certain they're going to be continually updating the Old Republic, which is the MMO.
Yeah, can we pause for a second to talk about the Old Republic?
Of course.
Because when those trailers came out,
they were next level.
And I know recently for Disney Plus Day or for something or other, they've released the trailers.
Yeah,
they've 4K.
I was going to say, they've just re-released them in 4K.
And they were the most amazing trailers I have ever seen. I have downloaded. They are the only trailers I have ever downloaded onto my computer, so I can watch them whenever I want. The game, I've never known a game's visuals
be such a different art style to a thing. Yeah,
I really had my heart broken with the old. Yeah, with the Old Republic.
I do get where you come from. As an avid fan and player of that, again, I play that almost weekly on stream.
Yeah.
I at first, I was like, I was a bit like, oh, why have they done this with the art style? Why could they not?
It was very Mass Effect, wasn't it? It didn't have the realism of the KOTOR games.
Not even that. Like even Mass Effect had more realistic stuff than them. It was almost it was cartoony-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a shame, but I do to this day. I love it.
But I've tried playing it, and I'm playing as at the moment. I suppose I'm playing as a Sith, and I've got a Jedi Guardian on the other side. It just got very boring.
I think it's because you don't realise the RPG side of it. But
I'm playing The Witcher at the minute, and all the missions are varied.
Yeah,
right? You got different things. Surprise things happen. But when I'm playing the Old Republic, it's all go here, kill that, collect this, go back.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether that's just because of the point of the story that I'm in at the minute, but even like the story, the main story with Darth Barris that I'm going through at the minute, I just can't bring myself to finish it.
Do you know what? I think
very boring.
I think it's where we're not taking into consideration this is an MMO as well. So yes, you're saying, oh, why are these missions so basic? But then the problem is that's only half the game. The other half of the game, you've got PvP, you've got flashpoints, you've got operations.
I'm not a big fan of PvP.
Neither am I.
I don't. I'm gonna. If I'm on somebody's team, I'm gonna let them down.
Yeah.
I also.
You'll never let me down. Don't worry.
Thank you. The other thing I didn't like is I did watch some of the flashpoints.
Yeah.
There was I think it was a flashpoint, or it might have been like the continuation of the story. Revan was treated so badly by this franchise.
Well, in fairness, it's very up and down. At first, he was just used, and then they added DLC with him, and he turned into an enemy. Then he was kind of used as a Force Ghost kind of style.
Revan was the kind of person that actually I would like KOTOR 3, or like, because I know KOTOR 2 dealt with Revan and he left. tell me more about that. We got some of it in a book.
Yeah.
And the Revan book was incredible by Drew. I think it was Drew Karpyshyn. I might be wrong. But that Revan book was good. But the ending then led straight into the Old Republic. And he didn't deserve... I don't feel like he got the attention. He deserved a game to himself.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's all right. I'm not a big fan of MMORs, PGs.
QRS's VIPs.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like the combat style.
No, that's fair. I think you have to get used to it. See, I'm fortunate where my mouse has got a lot of buttons on the side, so it makes it easier for me, because I do understand where you're coming from, because you've got, you ideally want to press all the buttons, whereas you've got a keyboard that's got 1 to 9 or 1 to 0. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be moving them around like that. Like, you get carpal tunnel otherwise. It's the point and click constantly. It's not the right, hold it down to attack or anything like that. You have to constantly press a button to attack, then constantly.
Yeah, and with KOTOR, I suppose, I don't even know if KOTOR had it, but like, you could vary things up per enemy. Like, you'd need to take different approaches with different things, and you could develop the skills a lot more. Now, I don't know, like, there just seems to be so many skills, but actually, in realistic,
you just need to do a couple of combos.
It's just a couple of combos, and it's endless.
But then again, unfortunately, that's the MMO. That's the MMO side. I mean,
I was really, having seen those trailers, I was really excited for the Old Republic, and then the gameplay and just the choice of game. Choice of genre. I was gutted for.
I presume you haven't got that far in to be delving into the Knights of the Eternal Empire and the Eternal Throne.
No, I haven't.
See,
I've watched a playthrough of. I think Sith Sorcerer or something.
I would say that is a very fun DLC. When I and a whole new storyline. When I played through it, I was very wowed just because of lore, because of everything they introduced, and it was a blast.
Yeah,
like, it was very fun. I would highly recommend it. Even to this day, the game is in a good state. In terms of a storyline, I'm pretty certain with all from start to finish, you're looking at maybe 80 plus hours. Story.
Easy. And I think I've probably spent that much on it already, and I'm not even, I want to, like, a completionist. I like, before I move on, I like to do as much as I can. Yeah. But it's, I think it also doesn't help because my PC's getting on a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, it all depends on internet. Like, it gets a bit laggy, and there's not really much I can do to cut out, I can't,
because it needs to always be online. You can't have an offline mode and an online mode. Which
it's not like I can disable, like, show other players. Just get rid of them. I don't want to see them. Save CPU power that way. It's very much an all or nothing. And at the moment, I've given up.
Yeah, it's a struggle because it's an MMO RPG. You're drawing in two different crowds. You're drawing in the MMOs. And then you're drawing in the people that like RPGs, but unfortunately, it's hard to cater for both when both want specific needs.
Yeah,
you want a full RPG, no MMO, whereas the MMO geezer wants none of the RPG and more of the MMO.
Yeah,
so it's a struggle. I mean, in my opinion, I think the balance is pretty good. Like I said, they've got an 80 plus hour story. They've got good multiplayer in terms of PvE and PvP. I have a blast with it, and I've got every single character probably doubled in terms of different, like, classes and stuff. They're constantly adding new DLC, which is great. And obviously,
are you a subscriber?
No, I'm not, which is amazing. I'm free to play, but I'm going to subscribe so I can get more characters because I plan to do a YouTube Let's Play on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's through microtransactions. This is where microtransactions can actually be a good thing. They can actually help fund new DLCs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where Battlefront failed in terms of they just wanted the money.
Yeah.
They didn't think, okay, those microtransactions could be used to then make new heroes or pay for new animations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's just where you need to think from. But I would recommend people to play it.
Yeah, it's
now on Steam, which is really more accessible. It is fun. Yes, you need to get used to the art style.
Yeah. I'd almost wish, release it on PS5. I know it's not.
It would be too complicated.
It'd be impossible, but like, I'd probably enjoy it where you've got a system where I don't have to worry about the performance of my PS5. It's going to cope.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one because I think stuff like Star Trek Online and Elder Scrolls Online, you can release on PlayStation just because the limited amount of abilities, you've got the options to do that.
Quick question about ESO, because I know, thinking about the news, there is going to be a High Republic game made by the same people as ESO. Is ESO very much the same combat system? as Old Republic.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. It's like Skyrim. Think of it like that.
So it's similar, like hack and slash.
Hack and slash with abilities mixed in.
Okay, but it's not like press 1, press 2.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
You can do mouse for attacking and then abilities 1 through whatever, but you haven't got like a ridiculous amount of abilities. Yeah. It's like 5 or 6. So you're not having like a ridiculous keyboard space. So you've got stuff to move. So that would be interesting. Yeah, so moving on to the gaming news. So obviously a couple of months, was it months or weeks? I'm going to say months. I think the last month or the month before, we had the big news and the big reveal that there was a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yes.
Woo! And then I went, because the teaser was amazing, because it had amazing visuals of Revan doing some little lightsaber flurry, and then the dreaded words, coming exclusively to PS5. At which point, I kid you not, my heart dropped and it sunk to the floor, because I was like, again, calling upon the Godfather, oh, look how they massacred my boy. Like, why would you do this? So a beloved PC game and an exclusive to the original Xbox for so long, we completely glossed over that. It was one of Microsoft and Xbox's like flagship games when that original giant chunky Xbox was released. Obviously, we haven't seen any gameplay. We haven't seen anything else. We've just seen that little teaser with Revan, and obviously, my initial thoughts was anger and frustration, because I was like, why? Why would you just exclusively release it for PlayStation? Like, you're cutting off, like, people with Xboxes. It's fine. It's
a PC game.
It's a PC game. It's like you're cutting off like 1/3 or 2. Well, okay, because it's an exclusive PlayStation, you're cutting 2/3 of your market audience away. Like, what were your initial thoughts when you saw like some of the teasers and you saw that news? What
I was alright because I got a PlayStation 5.
I got a PlayStation 5.
I felt special for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was good. And obviously, we haven't seen too much. I still have lots of questions.
Yeah.
Have you heard the news since that it will be coming to PC?
Yes, because I sent you that news. Thank you very much. I put it in our I put it in our family group chat. Thank you.
So you did.
I whipped up a tweet.
Things.
Yeah. It was, I think I'll pull it up now. It was a tweet from, I think it was from the developers, and they had said that basically, where is media?
Yeah, I definitely remember.
Yeah, I basically, they basically tweeted saying, guys, it's exclusively launching on PS5, but it will be coming to PC. Yeah. So don't panic. Everybody relax, and I can't seem to find it now.
It was definitely there, and it's going to be exciting.
Agreed.
I do hope it leads on to new things, because at the end of the day, it's great that we have a remake, a remaster. Here's what I have to ask you: what other remasters have we seen that we can kind of compare remasters to?
That's a tricky one. Because
I know there was the Crash Bandicoot remaster. I don't really feel that relates too much.
They've done the GTA one recently, which has gone down very badly.
What? No, how? Okay, why? What's changed?
They've kind of upped. They haven't upped the graphics. They've upped the textures, so they're still quite blocky and stuff like that. They've upgraded the lighting, but the problem is they used an AI to scale it all up.
Okay.
And in some areas,
this is from a ground up.
Yeah, but.
Completely
rebuild. I think another thing that people are overlooking. Obviously, there was a lot of fan projects a few years ago.
It was the KOTOR restoration project.
KOTOR restoration project, which Disney disgracefully shut down through like cease and desist orders through lawyers. So these were people that were doing mods off their own back, creating their own models
using code that was owned by other people. Though that's the issue.
I know, but it's like
the thing it was non-profit, but obviously now we know why. It was because they were doing their own remaster.
Yeah, but it was.
Unfortunately, it's just one of those timings.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, we got the news that it was coming to PC. I've just found it because I sent it to you personally as like a up yours. So this was from Lucasfilm Games. A legendary story remade for a new generation of players is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC.
Yeah.
No, still nothing of Microsoft and Xbox. We don't know.
Let them cook for a little bit
So
more.
I have a funny feeling it will be released on PlayStation 5, then probably like a week or so later it will be everyone.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. I hate this man. I hate this. I'm gonna go to his house. I'm gonna steal his PlayStation.
Good luck.
Do you know what? I was actually gonna ask you. I might even see if about buying your PlayStation 4.
I mean, it's broken.
I know, but I'll get it fixed. That's what I mean.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll see. We'll take it to like a CX or something like that.
Yeah, CX will fix it. I've looked into it.
How much for?
80 quid.
Okay. But obviously, I am excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of combat style they're going to go for. If it's so this was my train of thought, right? Exclusive for PlayStation. They've got rid of the turn-based. It'll be like Jedi Fallen Order hack and slash. I honestly think that's what it's going to be, because I can't see you doing it smoothly on a PlayStation in that style of like combat. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they might go towards a more Witcher style.
Yeah, potentially
where
could
they've
work.
got you've got powers and things like that you can use.
Because that's more of a wide, like when you're in combat, it's like a zoomed out wide camera angle, isn't it?
Yeah, almost like Arkham, the Batman Arkham games. But I don't know where they're going to go with it. I'm interested to see.
Yeah,
because actually it will make a difference. Personally, as long as you've still got that choice of like gunplay, and melee combat, lightsaber combat. You've got the choice: double lightsabers, single lightsaber, double lightsaber, twin lightsabers. I'm happy, and I'd be interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't think they can, as long as they stay true to the story and the spirit of the game.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have any complaints.
I don't think you could go too wrong. It would be interesting to see some of the, like the more light side force powers they're more situational rather than.
Well, I found when I was playing through like the original game, I thought they were more helpful than the dark side. In terms of providing defense, providing bonuses. It's underrated. And obviously, as a child, I never really understood.
And I wonder if again, comparing to The Witcher, because I'm playing that in a minute, I wonder if there'll be more like potions and things like that. You can prepare for them before battle, and do that. And actually, I'd probably find myself using it more because I'm more familiar with that style of prepping for a battle and going in. I would quite enjoy that.
Yeah, I think we need. This is all obviously at this point in time. This episode is going to be released around January, so I don't think there'll be anything in the next couple of weeks, couple of months in terms of gameplay reveal.
No, I think because we're looking at a 2023 release.
2022, I think.
To be honest, I reckon it'll be more 2023.
Do you reckon?
If the trailer that we saw is the only thing they've given us, which is a dude walking out and
I mean that's just
waving his lightsaber around.
We might not necessarily like. They might have got a lot more. Like
they might do,
because
but
I don't think there was any hints before this of this game in production.
Don't forget we've had COVID, and I do think that's probably had an impact.
And I'm not going to lie, ever since Cyberpunk was released, obviously I think a lot of game developers are a bit like, okay, let's hold back, let's make sure it's fine tuned. So Halo Infinite was delayed. There was a couple of other ones that was delayed. I think Battlefield is being delayed a little bit, or was delayed a little bit. So more than likely they want, because I think Star Wars fans, they want a good game because it has been so long.
They deserve a good game.
Yeah, exactly, we do. How dare you? So I think they will try and probably delay it a little bit. And obviously one of the last bits of news that I heard, I literally just yesterday or the day before. So all development and thought process for a Battlefront 3 has stopped. So there will not be a Battlefront 3 for the foreseeable future. DICE has taken all their developers and moved them over to Battlefield 2042.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were talking about Ubisoft. Ubisoft have been in the works of making stuff, but obviously the EA license doesn't run out for another 2 years, so they can't actually do anything. So unfortunately, I don't know if we'll get a Fallen Order 2. We might do. But
I think we will. I think that will probably.
I think that would probably be their last hurrah.
But then I think
because
I'm
like
sure
I said,
read somewhere
the deal runs out. It was a 10-year deal.
I have a feeling the exclusive deal ends. I'm sure I read a tweet somewhere. I can't remember where it was, and it might be wrong. That they tweeted out, "Don't worry, you will still see EA games produce Star Wars games, we just won't be the only ones doing.
Yeah, that's true. But what that means in context is we're not going to get any other developers making any Star Wars games for at least another 2 years because of that exclusivity right. So come 2023, hell, we might have like 4 games get announced. It'll be like,
yeah,
you never know.
Well, I mean, let's face it. This next year, 2022, we've got a lot of Disney Plus content.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. And then next year we can think about games.
Definitely agreed.
Other games coming out though.
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. They're combining them all, putting them out,
remastering
remastering
which one is
them.
that? Because I feel like I've got the complete saga, but is that one 1 through 7? I can't even remember.
No, because 7 was released separately. We haven't had a Last Jedi. We haven't had a Rise of Skywalker. So it's a remastered version of the first 6 games, or the first 2 games.
There's so many, isn't there?
Do you know what there is? There's the prequel one that came out first.
That was 1 through 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just Lego Star Wars. Then you had the original trilogy,
which was 4 through 6.
And I think we do need to pause for a minute and do talk about the Lego Star Wars.
I was going to say, how did we gloss over this?
They are incredible games.
They were hilariously fun when
they were
kids.
so fun. Back in the day when multiplayer, I know we were talking about the Game Boy where you had a system link.
This was something else, wasn't it?
This multiplayer was budge over. We're going to use the same keyboard, WSAND, up, down, left, right arrows, and
keep both characters in the same screen, otherwise it bugs out.
Budging elbows.
Yeah.
It was hilarious fun. You couldn't jump for anything at the same time that I could.
We had that dreaded pod racing.
Oh, the pod racing!
The pod racing mission. If anyone has ever played that original one,
it's awful.
It's all right when you're playing solo, but when you're playing with someone else, it's so hard. Trying to keep people in the same screen, avoiding
without pulling things open. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I fully plan on getting it, so that the wife and I can play it. We can play it.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
we can all play it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's not going to be groundbreaking.
No, but
it's just going to be
Lego.
fun.
It's fun. It's a kids' game.
The collectability of things, you can unlock characters. Yes, I really want to play as Biff number 3 from the Cantina Band. And create your own characters. That was always fun.
It was always a blast.
I think it should be good. And the Lego games have only gotten better. I think I played Lego Lord of the Rings once, and that was quite good.
Because the graphical fidelity of them is just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And that was that was a childhood one that we've glossed over, and how much fun that was.
I mean, we had the original Lego Star Wars on GBA, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yep. And then we got it on the PC, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just hours of entertainment.
Yeah.
Hours.
So when is that one coming out?
I don't know. It was supposed to be out already.
Yeah.
And I think it will be coming out early next year.
Wow.
But I'm not sure. Because it's almost finished.
And hopefully that would be the last one. That would be the definitive one. The ultimate collection.
Yeah, and now I don't know whether it's going to include anything. It's called the Skywalker Saga. So
it's
I don't know
if
it's
going to be 1 through 9. It's not going to have Rogue One or Solo, I don't think.
No. But then I would argue Rogue One is a Skywalker Saga story.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do. There are other 2. I was looking at the information. Now, there is a game called Star Wars Hunters that's come out, which it's a mobile game. So I've got no interest in it whatsoever.
I was going to say, we just gloss over. That's for kids these days. I just can't be bothered.
But there is, like I said, there's going to be the High Republic game is rumoured to be made by the same studio as Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay. Is that would be ZeniMax and would it be ZeniMax and Bethesda?
But yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But again, so that won't be until this exclusivity.
No, these are all kind of games that we can expect.
But do you know what? If anything, does that not give them the heads up?
Yeah.
In terms of going,
start.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, we've got 2 years, guys. Let's develop this game. And then, boom, as soon as this contract releases, it's like announcement. And
I don't know if that's how it works, but
here comes the money. You know what I mean? Like they would be like on it, and then I'll be like, I'm poor because I've got like 5 Star Wars games I need to play now.
But there's also a Mandalorian video game reportedly in the works. But there's not many details known about it. But that's on the cards.
That would be like probably a short single player kind of game. I can't imagine that would be anything more than.
No, I don't really know what they would do. Whether it be,
but it could be. Imagine this: a cool customizable Mandalorian that you could do. And instead of playing as Din Djarin, you play as a custom Mandalorian. No, it could be quite a cool thing.
Maybe
take note, guys. Take note.
It could also be some kind of, Little Big Planet style game.
I don't know what the genre is. Like the point and click games where you're playing, like Tales from the Borderlands, the Wolf Among Us. I don't know what that genre of game is called.
What do you mean?
Not The Last of Us. You know that Walking
Like the
Dead
Telltale one.
Yes,
Yes, like the
that.
Batman one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love watching that one on
Yeah.
YouTube without playing it.
I'm
That's fun.
surprised they haven't gone into that.
Maybe that's what they'll do.
I reckon. That
But then
could be a
Telltale
thing.
have gone. Is it Telltale? It is, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Is that the exclusive studio that does that style of game?
I know they did the Game of Thrones one. They did the Walking Dead one. They did the Batman one.
Well, what were you going to say? What, are they still around?
Then I don't think they're in business anymore.
Do you not think?
No,
Are they
I'm
not?
pretty sure because there was
Oh.
supposed to be another Batman one, and it got cancelled.
Oh,
So-
okay. Well,
Yeah,
there's
I
an
think
there's
that
an
one's
idea
gone.
for a game. I mean, I think it's because that is targeted to a very specific
It
audience.
is very
isn't
niche.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it on YouTube. With it, and you do get a lot of like choices and destiny deviations, but actually, it's not one that I would play again.
Yeah. Obviously, kind of in news. Obviously, going back to the Old Republic, you're not going to be playing it much, but something that might interest you is that they're doing the new update for it is allowing you to kind of like you know how before when you're a specific class you're locked to a certain weapon style and combat style.
Yes.
They're opening that up.
So you mean I don't have to constantly wield my one lightsaber, I can then wield two.
You can wield two.
Nice. I like that.
You can be a trooper that's got two pistols. So
Nice.
you could be like a Rex cosplayer. You could be a Mandalorian with a sniper. So it's
Be a
opening that up.
Jedi with a, I don't know, nunchucks.
No. Sorry to burst your bubble. But no, it's along the lines of like you can be a consular with two lightsabers. I think
That's.
Oh
No!
no, little guy. There we go. We have got a little mascot today. I think we'll make this permanent. I think this is.
Yes, he's very good.
It's very cool. Is that the one that I got your wife?
Yeah.
My sister-in-law for a Christmas present. It's very cool. We'll have to try and invest in like a huge one.
Yes, or just a Mandalorian to
What,
carry
a little Mandalorian
no,
plushie.
big Mandalorian to carry the little
Oh my
Mandalorian.
God, we can put it like
little
there
Grogu.
or something. Innit? We'll have to. This table is going to start filling up with more and more.
I do
knickknacks.
have the big Darth Vader, the 3-foot Darth Vader.
You do, don't you? Oh, I've got them stormtroopers in my bedroom as well.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Those issues are your own.
Yeah, but I think once 2023 hits, I think it's going to be a whole new world. A whole new world. Right, it's going to be fun. I think as Star Wars fans, the games will be
next year is TV. Year
Yep.
after that, and a couple of years after that, it's going to be games.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't know if we'll see any more movies. I'm not going to lie.
Well, there's obviously this isn't game related, but they have delayed at the time of recording this. They've delayed the Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, I read that.
Rogue Squadron film that's been delayed. Yeah, so I don't know. And then there was arguments over whether not arguments, but reports countering each other that what's her name? Chloe Zhao, director of the Eternals, that she's either is or isn't directing Kevin Feige's Star Wars film.
Yeah,
with lots of the reports hinting that she's not.
Yeah.
So
well, it's because I was going to say the Eternals has been a bit of a hit and miss, hasn't it? So
yeah.
But in the meantime, obviously I am going to try and get this on Apple Podcasts. I am struggling still, so it will get up there. Don't worry. All the previous episodes will get there up as well. We will have one more because I'm trying to word this in terms of when it will be released. So we will have. Hopefully, you would have already watched the Christmas special that would have come out. See what I did there?
The Christmas special.
Going back in time.
That we've definitely already filmed. Yes.
And then we'll have one more episode of commentary. I believe it will be episode 2.
Or we should mix it up and do something completely random. Episode 7.
Don't do that. Don't trigger me like that. We will go in a set order. I think we're trying to go across the pattern. We're trying to do a pattern of 2 episodes of the podcast, 1 episode of commentary, 2 episodes. So then that way we're varying it up, giving people a variety.
And keep your eyes open for the Game Boy Advance play-alongs.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll try and figure it out. So obviously, Spotify, go follow us on there. It is a blast to listen to if you're on a long car journey or I've been getting told apparently our voices are very relaxing.
Are they?
Yeah, apparently.
So maybe we'll release 2 podcasts, 1 watch along, and then 1 ASMR.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do some Star Wars ASMR. We'll read some read some books, like very, very
We'll
quietly.
create our own audio books.
There we go.
Audio dramas.
Yeah, we've also got it on Google Podcasts as well. Like I said, we'll try and get it on Apple, YouTube as well. We are releasing these episodes are released at the first Sunday of each month, so it's not necessarily going to be the first of like whatever. It's going to be like the first Sunday of each month. So don't forget to go and follow or subscribe to that YouTube channel. We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we're on the social, so head over there. We've also got the email address because I do really want us to start introducing a Q&A.
Yes, absolutely.
If you want
got any questions, fire them over.
You can do that either on the email address provided, or you can go over to a Twitter or a DM us on Instagram. That would be fun. That would be a really nice thing that I want to start adding to do, just to increase a little bit of the length.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the meantime, I suppose we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.
It will probably be a commentary. We've got so many other topics that we can talk about. Like next, do you mind, Mr. Spring? We'll do some kind of what if scenarios in terms of one of the things we want to try and do is talk about fixing the sequel trilogy. So we'll try and tackle each episode.
Yeah.
There's that.
Or I don't like the word fixing.
Altering.
There we go. Alternatives.
Yes. There we go. And then we'll also be having, news discussions or whatnot, because we'll have a lot to discuss come the new year, which will be really fun. So in the meantime, follow us on Spotify, hit the sub button down below.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Exactly. And I suppose we will see you guys in the next episode. May the Force be with you.
Bye.